4AM, who I think is setting themselves up to maybe win this bad boy. I don't want FaZe in a final 2-day finish, right? I want to knock them out now if I can. They've shown weakness. I'm comfortable. Maybe 4AM chooses to target them throughout today and try to slow down their potential return.
Well, it is strong theorizing. There's the potential it could happen. When we get to these international events, we don't see as much of it as I would like. But when it comes to stage by stage, your points are reset anyway. So it doesn't have too much of a knock-on effect into the next stage, surely.
No, I mean, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, sure.
Could quite easily.
I mean, I think we're gonna see potentially some from these guys.
Yeah.
We could potentially see some punishing.
Yeah.
That's right. Of all the teams yesterday we saw when it came to performances, this was one of the most surprising for a lot of people internationally. But credit where credit is due. They came out yesterday and they absolutely popped. Well played by WClick, and they're coming into today to secure points to move on to the final.
They want to show everybody LATAM is a thing. We are here to compete with the best in the world, and we are doing really good on it. We're really good at doing it as well.
And they'll go a step farther. They'll say, earlier during scrims, they were saying, we're going to take Ghost out. They're holding up a Ghost logo with the old, across the neck, we're dropping them. So there are rivalries here. They're going to want to get involved. WClick is far enough ahead that I think they could.
I mean, they're pretty safe.
Yes, they can play that spoiler.
Exactly. They can just keep people out from the grand finals if they want to.
And I think, to be clear, when we say teams may sort of work to keep other teams out, it's not, I don't expect hot drops, right? I expect them to consider their rotations, take spots they know that they like to go to, set up roadblocks, sort of like Lazarus did against Vendetta on the bridge. Look for that sort of messing with, not just hot drops.
Gatekeeping.
Yep.
And traps is the most efficient way of taking, or third party as well. If you hear a fight, you see it in the kill feed, you see a fight going on in the team that you're kind of contesting with, you chase them. You make sure you third part of that fight.
We might even see someone drop close to the other teams and just go there, pick up a gun, pop the tires from the other team. Make sure to cripple them from the start.
I mean, that from Michael.
Exactly. Everything from tire popping to loot absorption, right? If you drop around power and you try to take all the backup loot spots and then leave, it just slows them down.
Let's talk about T1, of course. At the moment, they sit on 44 points in 11th place overall, and they are one of the teams coming in from the PKL that some people had high hopes of. Addo was the one that definitely popped off yesterday, so that was impressive to see. We even saw it in our highlights as well.
I mean, I think that they were a team that did very well yesterday. In the past, when I've watched them, I kind of compared them to Bottle Rockets. They sort of take off, but the ultimate explosion isn't that overwhelming. But they've evolved, and I think they've gotten stronger and stronger, and they're definitely bigger than that. And I think that throughout this tournament, they are only going to get bigger. Do I think they're world champions? I don't know. But do I think they're a top 10? Yeah.
Not champions yet, but I mean, they're doing a great job on becoming better and better here. And that goes for a lot of the Asian teams, I feel like. T1 is one that has showed us that. And we saw that yesterday. They're doing great splits, 1-3, putting one outside the zone, making sure that no one can flank them and stretch on.
I mean, credit where credit's due. In a lobby yesterday that was very, very powerful eventually, they got themselves 4th place with those 44 points. So just any extras that they can get here is going to sit them firmly in the top.
And they're scary enough to scare Ghost off from Minas. Minas is all T1s. They're not being contested for it. Not expecting any contest today. So we'll see what's going to happen with the Ghost. Where are they going to be dropping? Because they're going to be dropping on a flex drop or a backup spot, which is going to be hard for them.
Wait, Frost, is that you? Is that is that the Dark Horse? Is that Gex?
Yes. GEX, not
Okay,
Gex.
I like calling them Gex. I don't know. I'm just a big fan of the deep cover gecko.
No, let's be honest. They did fell into the elimination stage, but after that, in the first day of the semis, we saw them. Oh my God, 41 points. They played perfectly. They got themselves one win on Erangel. Now, only half of the teams that has come to the semis have won a game. GX is one of the teams who have won.
That's true. I do think the fact that they won gave them a little bit of a bump in the points there. I need to see GX come out very fast or work to get those points locked in today. They're going to be looking for an average of, I think, 5-ish a game to make sure that they advance.
Which isn't too bad for them.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Do that.
But 1 or 2 games where we go to 0 or 1 right out of the gate, and I think maybe that mentally causes them to slow down, and that could be detrimental.
Do you not think sometimes they are miss a lot of the points that they were able to accrue? Half, in fact, was from that win. Everything else was the 20 points across the 5 games, which obviously is not exactly the 5 points that they're wanting to average here, Avenger. But what do you think?
I'm looking to see them on Sanak. I'm hoping to see them start off strong. They are looting in boot camp. It looks to be they're going to be having that to themselves. So if they start off quick loot, make sure they gave us a good spot. That could be the map where they're going to be taking the most of the points home and securing themselves the spot in the finals.
I mean, if that's the map where you're taking the most points home, though, it puts you in the same boat of Man, that's the one game where we get points, and they're going to need to have a couple more big ones, I think, to maintain their position.
Let's move on to Lazarus here from the NPL, currently sat in 14th place with the 40 points that they accrued on day 1. They were just 1 point behind GEX here, and of course, they're looking to push up here for NPL.
Yeah, I mean, they're a big hope for NPL. These guys are sort of the polar opposite of some of the other NPL teams in terms of they like preparation, they like timing, they like to know their opponents. They got the day off between the groups, so I think they're going to have a chance. They went home and got to make book on who was going to be here playing today.
Sure.
I think that plays into their style. So I expect Lazarus to pass today.
And of course, Froz, they are one of Xenox's backup plans here when it comes to the overall day. So what do you make of them?
You don't want to be on the team that Xenox is rooting for.
No, you don't.
Because when Xenox is rooting for a team, it doesn't go too well for him.
He was rooting for FaZe yesterday.
Yeah.
I do want to say, though, Purdy has been putting up some huge numbers. And I mean, he's the IGL. We know that the other guys on the team, those are the guys that are supposed to be fragging. But if Purdy can do this, what are the other guys going to do?
I can be a little bit scared for Lazarus because 4AM is also looking to take Hacienda, and they've been fighting for it. And 4AM is currently in the spot to say, you know what, we don't really care. We want Hacienda. So they could potentially be dropping on all of the map to make sure that they get Hacienda to themselves in the finals. So that could be a little bit scary. Looking forward to see what's going to happen with that.
I want to see Lazarus put up a big early 3 so that they can fight for Hacienda. If they get to Miramar and they're sort of struggling to be in that 16 comfortably, they will not drop Hacienda. They'll yield it, and that will also mean they're yielding it for the championship, I think. So I want a big 3 so that we can see a true throwdown for Hasi Power when we get to Oakland.
Moving on, we have Sting Divine Esports, and currently they're sat in 16th place with the 32 points that they have accrued for themselves, which is absolutely on that border overall. 17th when you talk about the kills and the I guess the tie between HG, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fair play. So what do you think of them?
I mean, they're the only team who have won one game on each map, meaning they got a Chicken Dinner World Tour. Now, that shows how good they can be on every map, not just one map, because we see a lot of teams being especially good on one map, a little bit worse on the 2 others.
I was happy to see them how they performed in the group stage. A Chicken Dinner World Tour in my book is not unless you do it in the same stage, though. So they had to show up big today. I want to see them get a chicken dinner on each map in the same stage.
I think we're divided. I agree with Froz, but you two agree with each other.
Well, so it's 50-50. Although I'm happy to see them here. They've been showing up strong in their region. They're by far one of the strongest teams from the region. I hope to see them in the finals here. They need to fix some of their rudimentary macro rotations to be in that spot, to be in the top 60 in my opinion.
My worry for them is reflected in the numbers right here. You see their average kill is 0.8 for Jet. The average damage is not very high. They win chicken dinners, but if they're not winning the chicken, they're not bringing tons of kill points home. And I think that is my worry for them, is if they come out today and they don't lock in at least one, if not, probably one chicken and maybe a couple of 2nd or 3rd places, I think they then struggle to break that 16 because their kill numbers just aren't there.
We saw him being a little bit more explosive during the group stage than we saw him here in the semifinals so far. And hopefully they can turn back to what they did during the group stage, being a little bit more proactive during their plays as well, so they can take more control and just kill more people.
Makes a lot of sense, and that is Sting Divine Esports here currently. Moving on to our final team that we're going to take a look at here is Red Canids Kalunga. Fantastic stuff. They, overall, when it comes to how they were able to perform yesterday, didn't quite live up to where WClick was able to gain the reputation when it comes to the region as a whole. But 26 points on the board so far. They've got the potential to push up.
I mean, okay, so if 4AM has the macro and the micro, and they're the total package, and Rumblers has the micro, but their macro's not wonderful, Canids so far have shown me incredible macro. Their map control, their spreads, their sort of how they're moving as the circles close has been very, very clean. The problem is when those endgame fights break out, their micro just isn't supporting them the way it needs to.
They're a little bit too passive. They tend to stick together a little bit too much. I want to see them spread out a little bit more. I mean, they have been one of the dominating force from LATAM together with WClick for a long while now as well.
For me, for them to work is that they turn around their kind of top 5, top 6 finishes into being more aggressive. If they kind of turn that around into being more aggressive, they will get the more kill points, and if potentially also wins. But if they're not getting the win, at least they're getting the kill points from being the more aggressive. They need to play together, need to play 2 and 2, stick together as a duo.
We saw it in a wrangle. We saw that game where sort of Milk, I think 4AM won by taking Milk out, but he fought Red Canids early on.
Sure.
Red Canids had a great spot, and if they had aggressively, I think, taken the priority over 4AM, they could have eliminated 2 or 3 teams, gone out a few points higher, and put the points they need to be a top 16.
I've learned my lesson. I know how fast things go here at the OGN Super Studio. So overall, when we look at the bottom 4 here, Ghost Gaming, Vendetta, Africa Freaks, Fatal, FaZe Clan, these are big names in that bottom 4. What are they going to have to do today? You can pick anyone you wish to be able to push forward to get themselves in the spot they need to be.
Let's pick one each then.
FaZe Clan.
You want to start with these choice?
Bring it.
Yeah?
FaZe Clan, yesterday, I mean, we literally saw them getting bullied by everybody else. And today's the day they need to step it up. But, I mean, it is FaZe Sunday, right? So that means it's all going to be good. We want to see them be more explosive, be more proactive, and make sure that they do their normal rotations. We saw them super late with rotations yesterday, and that kind of hurt them throughout the whole day.
I'll take Vendetta because it's the hard choice, not as like Frost. But I will say Xenox,
I took the bottom team.
Xenox needs to stop cheering for Vendetta. That way they will turn it around to make sure that they get in there. Also, from a game perspective, they need to start being explosive. They need to start killing because they're capable of doing so.
I'll give you a quick touch. Ghost needs to avoid W-Click, who apparently they made real mad, and they need to go back to playing as a team. Yesterday, McCoy was a solo trying to go for these kills. They didn't feel like the team that played the last weekend. Bring it back, work as a unit, and show up for North America.
It's time. We're getting into the game. Let's do it. It's do or die. We're heading over to Dapper Poro and the bearer of the curse. It's Xenox.
And welcome, everyone. I am Porosaurus, and this is my not-so-cursed co-caster, Xenox. I don't think you're cursed.
Honestly, I agree, but
Very
still
hard
shaking
on
my
you.
head. They're not wrong.
Well,
They're not wrong.
Maybe he is cursed. If that's the case, Vendetta in for some hard times today, but we are still going to root for them because look, we got Vendetta, we've got Sun Sister, 2 regional representation in the global championship on the line here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a long way to go for Vendetta. Sun Sister probably in a better position, but the boys on the desk saying FaZe Sunday. I can't help it. It's going to be Vendetta Sunday, Poro.
You think so?
Yeah, and it'll start here, game 1, game 2.
Well, for FaZe, it needs to be a FaZe Sunday. Otherwise, it's going to be a Liquid Monday as we come into our first map here on Erangel, coming across a nice, easy, calm plane.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It is. I mean, this is exactly what you want to see as far as a plane goes if you're any of these teams that have to kind of make moves early here. And interestingly enough, we see FaZe dropping out early. So I guess they've completely given up on the Mill to Power dream here.
Potentially maybe down to Primorsk or around that quarry region for FaZe, but hey, earlier the better. We'll see how that plays out for them. Maybe mixing things up, Poro. And that's potentially what FaZe need to do, mix things up.
You know,
because obviously yesterday didn't work at all.
It's such a mixed bag, though, because you start mixing things up, you get too far away from the play style that you've grown so accustomed to, that you've seen so much success with, and now all of a sudden you're coming and rotating in from different paths. You've got different teams that are going to be in front of you, so it makes things a little bit. It just adds that one additional element of risk in there. So we'll see how the FaZe boys cope up with it here as we check in on AT coming down. In a lovely shade of FaZe red today. We're not orange.
Yes.
We like to see it. We love to see it.
We do love to see it. For FaZe, they would definitely love to see better performances today for what is the final day of the semifinals. Match 1, Erangel. Let's get our first circle. Okay. Oh, it's Yasnaya, potentially Stalber if it keeps going north, but certainly couldn't be further away for FaZe. If we're watching them and talking about them, that's probably not an ideal circle to start with, Poro.
That is going to be an interesting rotation path. I mean, I imagine what we'll probably see them do is something where they stay along the west coast, come along from the north side. They are used to those hard northern rotations, but that is but one team in this map. There are so many teams that we need to be concerned with today as we check back the circle. Lazarus right dead center in Yasnaya. All to themselves. We have SKT just off to their east, and Red Canids have Pachinki all to themselves.
And just south of Red Canids is W-Click on the cliffs. They've been a standout team, and we'll see where they will finish, but it's looking likely that it will be in the top 16.
Yeah.
Can Red Canids join them is the question, potentially, of the two LATAM teams. We might see both of them heading off to Oakland, and wouldn't that be something special?
I mean, WClick's been an absolute revelation this tournament. I mean, this is the best we've seen improvement from these Latin American teams over the course of the year. You know, we saw more improvement at the GLL Grand Slam where they outperformed all the North American teams there. Hate to say it, but it's, you know, stats are stats. Ball don't lie, and it's true. So, you know, seeing them perform even better now that we've gotten to this global championship stage is a really, really heartening, and I like to see this region stepping up.
Ribo and Stilson are probably the more common known names from WClick, but I think Harold and Ragnar, like just giving them a shout out, they've been outstanding for me as a neutral viewer in a sense, and they haven't been carrying the team, but man, it's such a team performance for WClick, and you could kind of say the same for Red Canids. I know a lot of people know Andy, Rusty Zera, but Psycho and Raspu have been definitely holding their own, so huge shout out to those two, and we'll see how those two LATAM teams will go today. You mentioned before that circle, actually GEX have sent Sophia right up towards the west of Stalba very early. Gabba just watching AHQ rotating by. Unable to find anything though. To CC from AHQ, who interestingly sitting in the 16th position right now, 32 points. We talk about what the cutoff points will be. Well, right now, AHQ are setting the tone. So FaZe in last place, 18 points behind AHQ. When you think about it, Poro, like a 10-kill win for FaZe and 0 points from AHQ, and that just puts them straight into 16th. So AHQ have got a lot on the line here today as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we got our lowest B group team that is not playing, no longer playing infantry, sitting on 39 points. So that's most likely the first spot that's going to go as we check in with QM, making their way in just north of the lake to the west of Yasnaya. You know, they've got 4 a.m. just to the south of them, and the question on everybody's minds is 4 a.m. for real? What are they going to do today, knowing that they have such a lead? As we see Helen going to take a few shots at a passing Purdy Curdy, but not going to find any joy.
A few shots, took almost all the shots, and yet didn't land a single one onto Purdy Curdy, who drives by. It's interesting to see right now, at least from the map that we can see, is a lot of teams are pushing up north of Yasnaya, north of the pond next to Yasnaya, rather than playing the fields, obviously, which is not what you want to do, but they seem to be assuming this circle's going to go north, that it's going to be around Stalba. That's not a given, though. Phase 2, if it goes south, Poro, we're going to see a lot more rotations happening once again, like we're seeing here for Phase 1. Hallen's going to get joined by Ada. Obviously, for Lazarus around the Yasnaya region, they're going to get this warehouse pretty comfortably early, just south of Stalba.
Well, if you're a conspiracy theorist and you believe that the crates predict where the next circle is going to go, we have a crate right in the south side of Yasnaya right now. Ghost has made their way into the city as we see TSM making their way here in the south. They have Vendetta, WClick, and Red Canids all around them. It's going to be interesting to see where they decided to go, how deep they decide to go here.
And TSM were sort of like our 4 a.m. from Friday. They were dominating their lobby. They were in control, cruise control. Now, of course, they're going to be playing with 4 a.m. here today on Sunday. We'll see if TSM can continue to ascend. We
thought TSM had a dominating performance on Friday until we saw what 4 a.m. was pulling out, where they come out with another 23 additional points over what TSM cut the engine off, creeping up to heaven here, seeing if anybody takes any shots at them. Nothing just yet, so TSM might have found themselves a home as WClick is going to keep going past them. Tempo Storm still looking for where they want to go on the western edge here.
TSM might be one of the few who decide to hold south of Yasnaya for this circle. There will be a couple of Freak of Freaks just around Lipovka spread out north of it. We're actually seeing shots from Red Canids onto Vendetta, and Vendetta's a team that probably want to find kills today, Poro, but maybe not this early on, maybe not at the 6.5 minute mark. We've seen how that goes for them from Friday, and it didn't go well against TSM.
Yeah, they had a little bit of a rough time in their looting spot with Farm and Milta being right there. TSM just kind of kept running into them and feeding off them a little bit as we see a few shots getting traded back and forth here between the T1 squad. They are just to the east of Yasnaya in a 2-2 split. They have Ghost just off to their west.
Yeah, T1 playing the 2-2 split, 2 north of Yasnaya and 2 pretty much even with Yasnaya. So I think they're playing this pretty smart right now for T1's sake. So from Heaven, spot Red Canids going through the swamp just north of Mansion. Vendetta actually ended up holding around Shelter from that early exchange with Red Canids, who have obviously moved forward. Sting Divine Esports just pushing up near Potato Hill. They're going to be coming in late. And as for the phase update, Poro, they're over at Everest. So they'll be coming in probably another minute or so.
Well, this is good from FaZe, actually, because, you know, you're dropping in a location that you're, you know, I mean, obviously these guys are accustomed to this, right? This is something that they practice, but it's not something that they've done as frequently as they have their Mill to Power drop. This, you know, so coming in a little bit later when the circle goes that far away from you, taking the time to make sure you loot up. They're not eating any blue damage.
You wonder how much loot they were able to find in that time, though.
Yeah, you know, they're barely ahead of the circle. They'll come in late. They'll be fine.
Speaking of fine, though, WClick have been spotted by TSM. Not a team you want to take too lightly here. WClick priming the nade, so is Rory into the hole. Might have thrown it a little too far at the backside towards Ragnar. Nade throw from WClick, as Silza with a headshot knockdown onto Rory. They spot Gustav as well, just to the left of the tree. Now he has to fall back, and I don't think there's any saving Rory here, and there might not be any saving Gustav either. WClick are not a team you want to take lightly, despite how good TSM have been playing.
Well, it came down to a 2v2, and WClick comes out ahead on getting the first down on Rory. Now they're getting support from Harold and Rybo. Iro and Michael still in heaven, trying to provide some oversight, but not getting any angles here.
Michael's pushing up. He's pushed over to Gustav. Needs to give him some backup because they know the rest of WClick want to take this fight. You can see Shrimsy's getting involved as well. Now they'll take shots at TSM or WClick, whoever they can spot. Oh, Rybo gets the knockdown onto Gustav. The spray's decent. Iro with a triple tap. He gets knocked down, Rybo, though, to Iro. Nice trade back for TSM, but they're wounded. They're only down to 2 players remaining, as Iro can't confirm Harold, who gets away on half health. WClick down to 3, TSM down to 2.
Iro trading it back, but maybe just a little bit late. It maybe could have saved his teammate there, as the new circle has popped. We see we're going over to the Yasnaya fields. All our teams that are up towards the north side now have to make that decision. Do they want to go south of the lake here? Do they want to go south of Yasnaya? Or do they want to bide their time and see what happens next?
You say those teams up north, it's Stalba region teams at the moment. AHQ, Lazarus, 4AM are in that vicinity as well, along with GEX. FaZe have decided to rotate back from shooting range towards Rollsock Turtle. Spots Michael driving by. Iro will be following him after that here. And will Iro make it out alive, though? WClick, Sting Divine, both looking at his direction. Not the start that TSM were expecting. Fortunately, they got a lot of their points already on Friday, Poro, so they're not going to be too stressful going into today, despite this rough start.
Yeah, they can afford to have a few rough games here and still be pretty comfortable. Good seeing SDV take a few shots early here, as that's been kind of one of their biggest criticisms going into this, is that they managed to get to late game, but they don't manage to get a lot of kills. So seeing them play a little bit more aggressive there is good news. As we check back in with 4AM coming into the north side of Yasnaya, they've got QM crashing just to their south.
QM and 4AM both wanting to take the western end of Yasnaya Poliana. Tempo Storm running a 2-2 split, though, at the bridge. I think this is probably one of the better locations right now that you could ask for. Depending on how phases 3 and 4 play out, they can obviously take either side of the river and then play north or south as well as west and east. Does QM take the Wizzy Tower in the fields? If it does continue to those fields, Poro, this is a decent spot that will get you a great placement towards the end of the game.
Oof. Nice shots there from GYY. Gonna take McCoy pretty low, as I've never heard it referred to as a Wizzy Tower before. Now that's my favorite thing.
Wizard into Wizzy.
Wizard into Wizzy. That's that might be my new favorite thing. It's adorable. I love it. Okay, QM finding the shots on the Wayless early here, and if TSM is feeling okay, they've got I think 4AM is a little bit more secure in their standings. They can afford to have, you know, probably you 6 bad games.
77 points in 6 games.
Yeah, they should be fine.
I'm sure 4AM will be fine. There was a lot of debate about 4AM and what maybe they should do today. A lot of talk about maybe trying to make sure some teams don't qualify.
Yeah.
Not necessarily hot dropping, but maybe cutting off rotations or just being a bit of a nuisance. 4AM, I think, just going to play their normal game.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, though. Who is 4AM scared of? You know, who would they really focus on and say, like, oh, yeah, we don't want them to. I think they can kill pretty much everybody, as you see Wayless actually going down again. QM needs to be careful. Maybe they're going to start attracting the attention of 4AM here, as Wu Fang going to try to get the flushing grenade.
Now, that's a second knock onto Wayless as well, so he is bleeding out rather quickly. ZGG is going to have to speed up the process. GYY doing a decent job for QM. You can look at ZGG's stats as well. First in damage and kills. 25 seconds until phase number 3. As Yan Lee's going to bleed out to Uncivil for Lazarus, one of North America's hopes for today.
Yeah, North American hopes definitely hinging on Lazarus, Tempo Storm, and to see if maybe Ghost can rally from a very, very rough day one. They've got a lot of work to do, though, as we see Tempo Storm in a 2-2 split. Now, where's this next circle going to go? Wow, we're going to cut back to the northeast. So we're going everywhere here. We're going to go north, and we're going to cheat south, and we're going to go back up to the north. And
it's a bait and switch part.
It is, yeah. Yeah, that is not what you want to see.
Fortunately for Lazarus, they didn't give in to the bait and switch. They stayed at the warehouse. Now they're in a favorable position for phase 3.
Absolutely.
And we're seeing that rotation again for all the teams that were around Stalba, went south of Yasnaya. Well, now they're just backtracking immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard shift, interesting shift. Vendetta now in some trouble. They've made it past Tempo. Can they make it past 4 a.m.?
Wayless is pretty good with the spray here as they go by. Icon's going to be knocked down. It's further bad news for Vendetta. It just seems anything that they do just doesn't work out. Crit was able to get by. Non-red pulls up short on the hill, looking for the yellows. Edge is going to get there too. Can he make it in safely, though? He can. Oh, that's probably the best it's been for Vendetta so far this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, they lose one in a very scary rotation, and they force Tempo to make their way out here as forever. Oh my God, Yeezy going to take down Critical, and he is far away from the rest of the boys here. It's going to be a rough res for the Vendetta squad.
Wayless goes down. That was his third knock, was finished off by Easy. Xiaolu changing position here with the rest of 4 a.m. as McCoy spots him. Ghost Gaming are in here as well. We've actually got a lot of teams now that have decided to crash into Yasnaya. It's obviously a fairly big city. You can fit a lot of teams in. ZGG knocked down by Strimzy. 4 a.m. certainly not playing with the same pizzazz as yesterday. In fact, they're the fodder today.
Yeah, Ghost getting a lot of downs here so far, but no kills confirmed just yet. Seems like they're doing a lot of damage farming, but nothing really to show for it. As Forever going to try to put the smoke wall down, stay alive for a little bit longer. He's going to take a few shots from McCoy, but he'll stay alive for now.
Forever and Xiaolu last to align for 4 angry men. Stark contrast from what we saw of them yesterday. As FaZe Clan continue their rotation up north towards Stalba. They've got Tempo Storm just to their left. You can see Maluk further afield, up above. GEX as well, watching from the hillside. You say, because now 8C's getting shot at.
This could be rough here, and they also have Sun Sister and AHQ at the top of the mountain here in Stalbert. So this could end up being a very, very sketchy fight on the very northern edge.
It could be Tempo Storm, though, who might find a knockdown or two here on the rotation for FaZe. They're slowing down as they reach the top here. 8C knocked down by Miluk. Now spots Fuzzface as well. Zampa's up close. He gets the knockdown, and then the eliminations will follow. FaZe Clan are in some trouble, but Maxi finds a knockdown onto Zampa to maybe try and turn things around. No, he's not turning this ship around. FaZe Sunday.
Uba's
I don't think so.
Uba's still alive. Uba's still alive in the blue. Nothing really going for FaZe Clan so far, but that was a really rough rotation. Sun Sister now has the full attention of what's going on up here. We'll have to see where the next circle goes. We're going to the east and just to the north of Yaz. So all of this going on Stalwart Mountain is going to have to get settled very quickly.
There's a lot of dead area in this circle as well. Those fields out to the east of Yasnaya basically unplayable. So Lazarus are going to hold a high ground position as this next few phases progress. One of the better positions. I think for TSM, they just want to try and get to the middle of the field as quick as possible. Uber knocked down onto Crazy Sam, but I just don't see a way out of here for Uber, considering they are dead last on 14 points. They might get nothing from game one here. It's likely they get nothing.
So very scary time for FaZe fans. As we see Uber.
He's got nades.
He's got nades. Can make something happen here. It looks like, oh my gosh, he's trying to go
realizes this nade is coming and gets Crazy Sam. That's at least 1 point. It's something, but Uber's in the blue. 3 damage a second here, and he's going to have Fear Champ peek over, eliminating FaZe in 16th position. And now Tempo Storm at the hands of GEX have lost 2. Maluk and Sharpshot. It'll be a third with Sharky. They're all gone now for Tempo Storm.
Tempo did manage to pick up a couple of kills there off of FaZe, but going out in 15th plate and definitely not the start they're looking for.
It's in the kill feed. QM and Vendetta going toe to toe. That's actually in the very dead center of Yasnaya. Easy pushing in.
Looks like we should Liga. Yeah, we're going to get a res here on non-reg. So I believe Vendetta still have 2 up. Gex and GEX looks like they're sending 1 down to the south here. Maybe considering entering the city. Meanwhile, Lazarus still has oversight of everything. Ghost just trading from apartment to apartment.
W-Click pushing onto QM. From the looks of it, Silzen's pushed up close along with Harold. Nicky's going to find a knockdown onto Michael, but yes, you can see Ragnar and Silzen in the same vicinity as Liga from QM. Easy spots them though. Prime Tonight's got 5 of them. Throws it inside, but now he spots that. W-Click have pushed back. That'll at least buy some time for QM. 2 kills for them, but only 2 players remain. The revival to non-reg for Vendetta did take place and was successful from Edge. They are inside of the circle, but you can see the congestion now on the east side of Yaznaya. It's quite impactful. A lot of teams in such a small vicinity as Purdy Curdy finds the elimination onto Gabba. Sun Sister trying to come down the hill of Stalba. AHQ in the similar vicinity as well. They're going to be pushing in from behind Sun Sister. Potentially, Poro, more kills lining up for Lazarus.
Yeah, Lazarus in a nice little spot here, kind of oversee everything. They are on the edge of the circle. You see him take a few passing shots at GEX. Nothing going to find its home just yet, but Sun Sister coming alive here against AHQ up in the north side. Looks like Luke 12 might be wanting to come over the top and see if he can sneak something away from this.
Fear Chain the last bit alive for Sun Sister. Knocked down onto his teammate. SR's there. Luke 12 is taking shots to try and third party. There goes Fear Chan. Luke 12 picks up the kill for Lazarus. SR's knocked down as well. That was from Fear Chan. It could get stolen from Luke 12. CC is the last bit alive for AHQ. Was spotted as well by a Freak of Freaks. You can see them in the back distance. As Shadow will pick up the kill onto SR.
We're gonna have to ask Luke 12 if that 6x dinner plate DP is a new meta item there, as he managed to pick up a nice kill there. CC, as you said, still alive.
When you look at, but this map's about to pop.
Yeah, go.
For phase 5.
If this
go
thing
and have a
pulls
look
away
at
from
Yaznaya.
Yaz, it's gonna be disgusting.
Yeah, look at Yaznaya here. It is so packed right now, and I presume it's going to move away.
Ooh. Okay.
Apartments are in for Ghost Gaming.
Yeah, Ghost is gonna be in for an interesting decision here, as they are currently kind of in a 2-1-1 between 3 different buildings, but I don't know if it's too late at this point to really get themselves back together, or if staying split right now might be the play, just so they can get more angles of fire.
It's a war zone inside of Yaznaya. Nade from Forever has a couple. These nades are going to be probably just about thrown by everyone very shortly as teams scramble for these apartments. Vendetta getting pushed on by QM. They're getting shot at by Ghost Gaming as well, who have got the angles, as you said, from those apartments. Forever. And they find a knockdown. Edge is going to be taken down by Shrimsy. When you're holding 3 apartments, you can get a lot of angles, a lot of sight lines. But if they do get breached at any point, it might be tough for Ghost Gaming. Sophia pulls up short. They've got the smokes. Forever knows he's getting breached. Throws out every nade in every angle that he possibly can. He got Leo. Sophia's knocked down as well. That was from Leo's nade. Team Fire. It's not friendly, though, for GEX and Forever. Holding on, maybe Forever.
They're going to wish they had that
Final
breach
nade.
back.
Does he go for Shy Way? Underarm throw. It's pretty good, but it doesn't get the elimination. Oh, they get the revive as well at the right time.
So close there is TSM, the last few remaining members getting crashed here by SDV. Iroh gonna stay alive for just a little bit longer. So close. He's already got 4 kills for the boys, and he's gonna get the res here onto Michael as well.
And they're inside of one of the only buildings outside of Yaznaya that is inside of this circle. Forever got the kill onto Kane after Drassel found the knockdown. It's one very angry man right now that's getting breached by GEX, but yet as this continues, there's less and less competition. As non-reg is eliminated, that's the end of Vendetta. Flash grenade, he just doesn't know when they're going to be pushing. I don't think they're concerned with pushing right now, Poro, because for GEX, they've been quite slaughtered. McCoy spots Forever. Oh, straight into Leo's captain. He gets finished off anyway by Shy Way. Leo didn't know what hit him.
That was so close there. Leo not even expecting it. Is now Nicky gonna take some fire here from Iroh. He's gonna hide behind the exploding vehicle, just blow it up. Oh no, Vegas and Drassel.
Ghost Gaming are cleaning up right now from these apartments. They've got such a high ground position. They can see in the field. They can get the angles for the players and teams that are inside of the city of Yaznaya. W-Click have taken their own apartment building for themselves. Red Cannon's out to the far east trying to deal with a Freak of Freaks. And of course, Lazarus still from that warehouse sort of position around the top of Stalba up north have been using that high ground advantage, but they can't get teams inside of Yaz. Let's see what phase 6 brings for us here for what is match 1. Oh, they
Lazarus.
get the feed for Lazarus.
T1 has been finished off between the combination of AFF and Red Canids. Now Lazarus, not only do they get the circle, they also get double level 3 gear here and a nice bullet hose in the M249. Let's just see what they can make happen of it.
AHQ went out with 1 point, so that 16th position hasn't moved too much in terms of AHQ. Red Canids are going to get the revive, but eventually they're going to have to take this fight with a Freak of Freaks. Out to the east, presumably Lazarus will find an angle here and get a third party from the north. You can see Uncivil, Luke 12, taking shots at Shadow and Lambu, who are just trying to move forward. They're just trying to get into the circle, but they're finding they're getting met by Lazarus. 4 kills so far. I think that's going to double up by at least the end of this game.
That is a tough push. TSM, meanwhile, out in the fields, have to figure out how they're going to make their way into this new circle. And we still have the solo player from GEX trying to make his way through Yasnaya and Ghost and W-Click.
As you said, and now they're going to have to get moving. That blue zone's moving. So it's time to leave the apartments in Yaz as a Freak of Freaks and Red Canids start the fight. Iroh still alive, of course. TSM down to the southeast. They're going to get involved here with the knockdown of the Rusty Zero. Michael's going to take the vehicle, try and just find a position inside of the zone that he can crash into and try and stay alive. Andy spots Lambu, but he doesn't get the shots. Trying to just get one more peak shot to land. He's unsuccessful, though. Rusty Zero was knocked down, so Red Canids are down to 3.
I mean, the whole time this fight is going on, it allowed TSM to make their way into the circle. Red Canids was distracted after Rusty Zero went down to Ira.
Fight happening inside of Yasnaya as well between W-Click and Ghost Gaming. It seems pretty even. A Freak of Freaks and Red Canids. This is taking its time right now between these two teams. It's certainly dragging on, which is bad news for Red Canids because the Blues right behind them. Luke 12 stealing kills. He gets Raspu. Alo finds a knockdown onto McCoy. There goes W-Click. Lazarus now up to 7 kills. They had 4 the last time we saw them. They're feeding on both the teams coming out of the apartments and out to the east between Red Canids and the Freak of Freaks.
And meanwhile, Michael is actually picking up a few of these here, getting it down for TSM. So that's another point picked up for them, as it looks like Red Canids, Psycho, the last one up. It looks like he might be trying to wrap down here south and see if he can maybe get involved with TSM. You can see they hop in the vehicle. Alo sending the shots, but it's not going to be enough to finish him off.
Gets to the base.
Oh, that's so close.
Easy's still alive at the back. He actually got the knockdown to Iroh, so Michael's the loss with the line for TSM. A Freak of Freaks just trying to hold out far east, but Lazarus continued to just have this Overwatch view of them, making it almost impossible for a Freak of Freaks to move any further at all. I mean, Lazarus should be winning this game from here on out, Poro.
Absolutely. I mean,
Hey,
this is...
look at the circle again!
Jeez, this thing is set it up.
Oh my days!
But you know what? I mean, this goes back to when the circle cut to the south and cheated to the south and made everybody have that to make that decision about whether they wanted to cut south or stay north. Lazarus held to their guns, stayed north. Now it's paying off for them as they are coming up huge, and that's 10 kills, and TSM has been finished off, or Ira has been finished off. Michael's still alive. 7 kills, though.
Massive for Lazarus, though, this game and what it's going to do for them. 10 kills. Undoubtedly, they're going to get a couple more as well as this rounds out.
This is also huge for AFF. I mean, AFF and QM, both of these teams were very, very low. QM does go out there in third.
This is not over just yet, Poro, because Purdy Curdy and Alo are actually not with the 2 downed members of Lazarus. Uncivil and Luke 12 both got knocked down by NN. This is going to allow a Freak of Freaks to push to the next circle with no pressure at all. They want to take this fight up close. Purdy's trying to run as quick as he can to go and get the revives. But the same time it takes for him to get to Luke 12 and Uncivil is the same time it's going to take a Freak of Freaks to get over towards the base of this mountain. We have a game on our hands, ladies and gentlemen.
They don't have nades. No nades on AFF. He does have a Molotov, so that could be something that they pull off here, as Purdy is going to go ahead and turn his attention back towards the AFF boys. This is a huge game for them as well. They had 15 points going into today. They needed to have a big first game to play off of, and how big is it going to be? Can they clutch it out in the 2v4?
It's still going to be very difficult. Purdy Curdy got the revive, so now 4 up again for Lazarus. Look, all it did for a Freak of Freaks, it got them a hope at a chance here. If they can find the knockdown onto Alo and Purdy Curdy, or do what they did again to Uncivil and Luke 12, then it makes it a 2 versus 2. And then got 2 pretty quick headshots. The nade, though, from Alo It's straight to the tree of NN and Lambu. It's just going to hit at the front side, though. No damage inflicted, but Alo still gets Lambu. NN behind the tree. It's going to be very difficult from here. He did a good job before to get the double knock, but
there it is.
All it will be for naught. 13-kill win for Lazarus, and a good start for the final day. Maybe it will be NA Sunday.
I mean, I got my fingers crossed. I can hope so, but what a great performance from Lazarus, coming in huge with 13 kills. That's 23 points. They were sitting with 40 coming into today. That put them in the top 8 of all the teams that are playing so far. They're doing phenomenal. They couldn't ask for a better start to today.
We just caught Luke slipping and having a bit of a pick, but that's all right. Winner, chicken dinner.
Call him out on it. Just let it slide. You know?
No, I can do that. Is my boy. But massive start for Lazarus.
Huge.
They were already inside of the top 16. They had about 40 points, if I recall, off the top of my head. Poro, you have that performance. They're already 60 plus. One more, even semi-decent performance, and they're heading off to Oakland.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, you know, you look at other teams that needed to have big performances today. AFF only came at 15 points coming into today. They find themselves in second. TSM get another 7 kills off of Iro and Michael, the duo, making their way super late.
It wasn't easy for them either, was it?
No, it was not, definitely. QM in 4th place also needed a ton of points. So this is good for all these teams that are finishing high. These are teams that needed to get points early to try to build something off of for the rest of the day.
4AM didn't quite have the same powers as yesterday, but it was a very interesting game, though, of course, with the Asnaya. It makes it very difficult. A lot of teams in